Today we're talking about AMD, why retail investors are grinning, why Wall Street is leaning bullish, and why the next several years for AMD might feel like sitting in the front row of a fireworks show, exciting, loud, and maybe a little bit unpredictable. Retail's still riding the wave. Retail investors have been noticeably bullish on AMD, piling in after a string of strong product cycles and big corporate wins. This is the crowd that bought Ryzen CPUs for their gaming rigs, added EPYC-powered servers to their fantasy cloud portfolios, and then texted their friends. AMD to the moon? At 2 a.m. The retail enthusiasm is driven by visible wins, products people can point at, Ryzen in their laptops, EPYC in data centers, which is always more emotionally satisfying than abstract AI promises. This bullishness is not just online hype. Market commentators and analysts have pointed to AMD's partnerships and AI momentum as reasons to stay optimistic. For example, recent coverage highlights AMD's expanding AI partnerships and how that visibility is a major factor behind the stock's momentum. Why the next several years could be great, but with a question mark? There are three big engines that could drive AMD forward, CPUs that won hearts and data centers. AMD's Ryzen and EPYC families are selling at record rates, and the company literally says so in its financial reports. That's not promotional fluff, it's line-item evidence. Record Ryzen and EPYC sales were called out in its quarterlies. AI GPUs and partnerships. AMD has been moving hard into AI accelerator territory. Partnerships and supply agreements, and rumors around big customers and rack designs, are changing the narrative from AMD is a CPU player to AMD is a serious multi-architecture competitor. Analysts and press coverage are now highlighting this AI momentum as a core growth driver. Gaming demand. Gaming remains a huge and emotionally resonant revenue stream. Gamers upgrade, streamers build rigs, and console business cycles can boost semi-custom revenue. Recent quarters showed robust client and gaming revenue gains, underpinned by Ryzen demand and Radeon presence in consoles. Put those together, and you get a reasonably optimistic growth runway. But, and here's the fine print, how great is the big unknown? Some forecasts are wildly bullish, think triple-digit upside in particular scenarios, while other more conservative models assume strong but steadier growth. Market watchers are split on the magnitude and timing. In other words, the path is brighter than it was 5 years ago, but fog still covers the horizon. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. The bold projection, 40% revenue growth / 50% net income? Yes, some people say that. Imagine AMD grows revenue at 40% per year for 4 years and achieves 50% net income growth, landing at roughly 22% net income margins. What would that feel like? Picture a bakery that used to sell 10 muffins a day and suddenly, because of a celebrity tweet, sells 14 muffins, then 20, then 28, compounding. AMD isn't a bakery, but revenue compounding works the same way. Each year's bigger base makes the next year's percentage growth deliver larger absolute dollars. If those projections held, AMD's profitability would go from very healthy to you need a bigger wallet to hold all these profits. But let's be clear, those numbers are scenarios. They're the optimistic branches on a decision tree that include continued strong demand for EPYC in data centers, robust consumer and gaming cycles, successful penetration of AI GPU deployments, and no crippling regulatory or supply chain shocks. Those are a lot of ifs. Some analysts publish scenario models like this. Commentators highlight that AI GPU adoption and enterprise deals could push upside far beyond consensus if they scale as hoped. What's actually been happening? The numbers. Let's anchor in some facts so we don't float away on optimism alone. AMD reported record quarterly revenue in its recent quarterly filing, with management explicitly calling out record EPYC and Ryzen CPU sales. That's a heavy, primary source data point supporting the product cycle strength thesis. Coverage of the quarter also noted a high single-digit to double-digit increase year-over-year in total revenue, and analysts emphasized the mix shift toward data center and client computing products, EPYC plus Ryzen. Independent media coverage summarized the quarter as record revenue despite certain one-time charges, while noting substantial growth in client/gaming and data center segments. Those are concrete reasons retail and institutional buyers alike have been leaning bullish. Wall Street's view, mostly bullish. How bullish? Well, data providers that aggregate analyst coverage show a generally positive consensus. Different services report slightly different snapshots. Some cite around 40 to 45 analysts covering AMD, with an overall recommendation skewing bullish. One data provider shows an average price target in the low to mid $200s. Zacks lists an average around $252.35 from a sample of analysts, which implies upside from then current prices at the time of the snapshot. Another aggregator gives an average target in a similar ballpark but with varying upside. The headline: most analysts are on the buy side, though targets and degrees of enthusiasm differ. Important nuance: different services count different numbers of analysts and apply different weighting, so the 44 analysts, or 30 strong buys, numbers you see floating around may differ slightly depending on the data vendor and timing. But the consistent theme is bullish tilt, many more buys than sells. Aggregate price target snapshots show an average in the low to mid $200s across multiple aggregators, a reflection of current fundamentals plus some future optimism. Zacks reported an average price target of $252.35 based on its sample, which implies modest upside from certain price points. Other portals show similar ranges with higher outliers, up to the low $300s from a few bullish houses, and lower conservative estimates. These mixed targets highlight that while the consensus is bullish, the magnitude of the upside is debated. But we could expect AMD to hit the average price target around the same time. Note this as well. And he saith unto me, seal not the sayings of the prophecy of this book, for the time is at hand. He that is unjust, let him be unjust still, and he which is filthy, let him be filthy still, and he that is righteous, let him be righteous still, and he that is holy, let him be holy still. And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. Revelation 22 verses 10 to 14. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all his commandments, he has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let him be your guide, for he will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.